Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday.
Festival of Lights Diwali was celebrated across the country with traditional fervor and gaiety. In Uttar Pradesh, Ayodhya, Deepotsav has set up Guinness Book of World Record by lighting over 22 lakh diyas. More than 23,000 diyas were lighted on Deepotsav at 51 ghats of Ayodhya, including Ram Ki Paidi. Governor Anandiben Patel, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, both Deputy Chief Ministers, several other cabinet ministers and ambassadors of 52 countries graced the event. The Chief Minister said that Deepotsav has not only become a big event for Ayodhya and Uttar Pradesh, but has also become a unique event for the country and the whole world, realizing the Prime Minister's vision of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. The International Cricket Council ICC board has suspended Sri Lanka cricket's membership from the ICC with immediate effect. Media reports mentioned that the ICC board meeting met this week and determined that Sri Lanka cricket is in serious breach of its obligations as a member. In particular, the requirement to manage its affairs autonomously and ensure that there is no government interference in the governance, regulation and or administration of the Sri Lankan cricket. The reports further said that the conditions of the suspension will be decided by the ICC board in due course of time. Indigenously made Indian naval ship INS Sumedha is on a goodwill visit to Nambia's Wallis Bay from November 10th to 13th. In a social media post, the Indian Navy said that the INS Sumedha was part of an ongoing extended range operational deployment. It added, interaction with Nambian government, functionaries, military officials as well as a cross-deck visit were undertaken. The reception on board INS Sumedha was a great success with the Indian and Nambian dignitaries in attendance. Moreover, a medical camp and a session on yoga and Ayurveda was held in the Walvis Bay with Nambian Navy personnel also joining in. Earlier this month, INS Sumedha made a 3-day call to the port Luanda in Angola, participating in Maritime Partnership Exercise MPX. United States military officials say that they have conducted airstrikes on 2 locations in eastern Syria on 10th November, including Iran-backed militant groups hitting a training location and a weapons facility. This is the third instance of retaliatory attacks by the US in the past fortnight. Reportedly, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corporation IRGC has carried out almost 50 attacks since October 17th on military bases housing American troops in Iraq and Syria. According to Pentagon, about 56 US personnel have been injured in the attacks. This comes amid heightened tensions with West Asia due to the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Many groups have expressed anger against the US for supporting Israel in the conflict. United States and South Korea have revised a bilateral security agreement called as TDS aimed at deterring North Korea's advancing nuclear and missile threat. South Korean Defense Minister Shin Won-sik and his US counterpart Lloyd Austin signed the updated agreement at the security talks held in the capital. South Korean Defense Minister said the Tailored Deterrence Strategy TDS aims to counter the threat of nuclear weapons and other armaments by North Korea. The revisions made to the agreement have not been made public yet. The strategy, which holds that the United States will use strategic military assets, including nuclear forces, to defend its allies, has taken on a greater significance as North Korea pushes ahead with its ballistic missile and nuclear programs. Nepal's government decided to ban the social media app TikTok, saying it was disrupting social harmony in the country. The announcement was made following a cabinet meeting this week. Foreign Minister Narayan Prakash Saud said the app would be banned immediately. Mr. Saud said to make social media platforms accountable, the government has asked the companies to register and open a liaison office in Nepal, pay taxes and abide by the country's law and regulations. TikTok has faced scrutiny in a number of countries because of the concerns that Beijing could have used this app to harvest user data and advance its interests. Pakistan opened 3 new border crossings to expedite the deportation of Afghans living in the country illegally, official sources said. Nearly 3 lakh Afghans have left Pakistan in recent weeks since the authorities started arresting and deporting foreign nationals without papers after October 31st deadline for the migrants without legal status to leave the country voluntarily. The expulsion most affects Afghans, who make up for the majority of foreigners in Pakistan. It has drawn criticism from Taliban-led government in Afghanistan as well as on the human rights organization like Amnesty International. Pakistan has long hosted millions of Afghans. Most of them fled during the 1979-1989 Soviet intervention in Afghanistan. More than 500,000 fled Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover. What is pig butchering scams? Zerodha co-founder and CEO Nitin Kamath has warned people against the pig butchering scam. Pig butchering scam is a cyber scam where scammers act like a friend or a romantic partner to trick someone into giving them money for fake investment or jobs and then run away with the money. Chinese companies have unveiled world's fastest internet network, claiming that it can transmit data of 1.2 terabits per second. Huawei Technologies and China Mobile built a 3,000-kilometer internet network linking Beijing to the south in collaboration with Tsinghua University and Cernet Corporation. The network is capable of transferring 150 HD films per second, according to Huawei. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has launched Pradhan Mantri Particularly Vulnerable Tribal Group PVTG Development Mission, a 24,000 crore rupee scheme on Wednesday this week on the occasion of the 3rd Janjatiya Gaurav Divas from Kunti district in Jharkhand. The mission will benefit 75 PVTGs in 18 states and union territories, living in 22,544 villages in 220 districts, having a population of around 28 lakhs. Mr. Modi has also launched Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra to ensure saturation of flagship government schemes. Addressing a function at Kuti, the Prime Minister said that Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra will form, educate and aware to all beneficiaries. We had also started Gramin Swaraj Yojana for a few years ago. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra will reach the villages and ensure benefits of all government schemes reaching to the targeted beneficiaries. Indian skydiver Sheetal Mahajan jumped off a helicopter from the height of 21,500 feet in front of the world's highest peak, Mount Everest. She became the first woman to do so. Mahajan landed at Kala Patthar Peak at an altitude of 17,444 feet. Mahajan is a well-known Indian skydiver who holds several skydiving records and is the recipient of the 4th highest civilian award, Padma Shri, in 2001. She also is the world's only woman to skydive over the South and the North Pole earlier. In chess, R. Vaishali drew her last round game against Mongolia's Baktuyang Mungunthul to win FIDE Women's Grand Swiss 2023 at the Isles of Man in United Kingdom last night. Vidit Gujarati beat Alexander Predke of Siberia to record his 7th victory in the event and take the top spot in open selection. Both players also qualified for the prestigious candidates tournament to be played in April next year in the Canada. Both Vaishali and Vidit ended with an identical 8.5 points apiece and stayed half point clear of the nearest rivals. Vaishali became the first Indian to win the Grand Swiss and will have her task cut out in the candidates along with India's first woman Grandmaster Koneru Hampi. Hampi is likely to qualify by virtue of high rating, but decision will be known only in January 2024. The United States Navy shot down a drone heading towards a US ship on Wednesday that had been launched from Yemen. According to the officials, the US destroyer was operating in the southern Red River when the drone was detected and heading towards the ship. Meanwhile, there were no casualties or any damage to the ship, as reported. It is the second time that a US Navy warship has shot down a drone fired by the Houthis. Last week, the Houthis shot down a US MQ-9 Reaper that has been flying in international space of Yemen. Forward Manveer Singh's 75th minute goal helped India defeat Kuwait 1-0 in their opening 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying second round match at Jabbar Al Ahmed International Stadium in Kuwait City. India will next face Qatar in Bhubaneswar on November 21st. Qatar is currently on top of Group A points table following their 8-1 victory over Afghanistan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Voice of the Global South Summit this week. In his address at the inaugural session, Mr. Modi said Global South has been able to find its voice after the concentrated effort of all the Global South nations. He added that the priorities of over 100 countries constituting Global South are similar. He said, India strongly condemns the death of civilians in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. He said that after speaking to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, humanitarian aid was sent to the people of Palestine. Prime Minister also virtually inaugurated Dakshin, a Global South Center of Excellence, Development and Knowledge Sharing Initiative Dakshin Center. Dakshin will undertake research on developmental challenges being faced by the Global South and finding particular solutions to these challenges. United States State's Department has said Israel's war cabinet has agreed to allow 1.4 lakh liters of fuel into Gaza every 2 days after a request from Washington. Israel announced that amid acute shortage that has threatened aid deliveries and communications in the besieged Strip. Earlier, Israel said it has agreed to allow 2 fuel tankers a day into the territory. Aid agencies have been lobbying for more fuel to enter Gaza in order for them to able to distribute the humanitarian supplies. Meanwhile, Gaza's main telecommunications company, Paltel and Jawal, said that their telecommunications has now been partially restored following the delivery of a limited amount of fuel. A Boeing 787 has become the largest passenger aircraft to land on Antarctica's blue ice runway. The North Atlantic Boeing 787 Dreamliner flight transported 12 tons of research equipment and 45 passengers, including scientists from the Norwegian Polar Institute, to the station in Queen Maud Land. The journey began in Norway on November 13th and made a stop in South Africa. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded itself this week back in history. 12th November 1990. Akihito enthroned. Japanese Emperor Akihito, according to the traditions, the 125th direct descendant of Jimmu, Japan's legendary first emperor, was formally enthroned on this day in 1990, nearly 2 years after the death of his father Hirohito. 13th November 2015. Terrorist attacks in Paris. On this day in 2015, terrorists staged coordinated attacks in Paris and its environs, the deadliest occurrings at the Bataclan Theatre and the Concert Hall. In all, at least 130 people were killed and more than 350 were wounded. 14th November 1962. Eritrea made a province of the Ethiopian Empire. On this day in 1962, the Ethiopian Parliament and the Eritrean Assembly voted unanimously for the abolition of Eritrea's federal status, making Eritrea independent since 1993, a simple province of the Ethiopian Empire. 15th November 1988. Palestinian statehood proclaimed by Yasser Arafat. Meeting at Algiers, the Palestinian National Council, at the urging of PLO chairman Yasser Arafat, issued a declaration of independence for the state of Palestine in the West Bank and Gaza Strip on this day in 1988. 16 November 1988. Election of Bhutto as Pakistan's Prime Minister. Benazir Bhutto, elected Prime Minister of Pakistan on this day in 1988, became the first woman in modern history to lead a Muslim country, serving as a Prime Minister from 1988 to 1990 and again from 1993 to 1996. 17th November 2003, Arnold Schwarzenegger inaugurated as Governor of California. Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, an Austrian-born American bodybuilder and film actor, was inaugurated on this day in 2003 as the Governor of California, following a recall election that ousted the sitting governor. 18 November 1978, Jonestown Massacre. Jim Jones, leader of the People's Temple religious community that he formed in 1950s, and some 900 of his followers died this day in 1978 in Guyana in a massive act of murder-suicide known as Jonestown Massacre.
Well, that's all, friends, for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.